right, just a few for you tonight. First is to remind you that there is 2 public hearings next Wednesday. One for Iron Tales liquor license renewal and one for Barn Lights. So if anybody has any questions or comments, you can email them in advance or show up that evening. Also next Wednesday night, which unfortunately it's a conflict, which I realized after I sent the email, is the county budget public hearing. I sent you all an attachment that showed the increase by town, the increase by department. It had the entire York County, and it had, you know, the sheriff's department, the register of deeds, it had all of their increases, what they expected it to do to our county tax. And I thought maybe some of you might like to attend, but I guess it'll be hard pressed to do that with the liquor public hearings, but if anybody,
Why is that?
well, unless you just don't wanna go to the public hearings, so at the exact same time. Maybe-
I would imagine neither of those are gonna be controversial.
No, I mean, I would like to see 2 of you.
I would consider going, anyone interested?
I would be interested in going to that.
That
It's a
would be-
fairly healthy increase, what is it, like $3.5 million?
Yes,
As I remember, it was double digits, like 12%,
Yeah.
something like that. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
and our county tax.
Could you
was
send me
going up.
that attachment again?
Sure,
And does it have location and time and everything?
yes.
It's
Okay.
a county.
Dan, you're going?
Yeah.
All right, so the 2 of us will go. You'll have 3, so you're all set.
Okay, okay. The next was just to let you know that we made all the changes that you approved on the winter agreements, and we've sent them over to council to review.
Great.
So hopefully we'll have these back as early as next week, and we can, I've started making a cover for the advertisement, so I'll clear that with David and we'll get it out there so we can get going. I wanted to talk about the fall vote, and the fall budget, just so I can kind of start putting some words together for some of these. The fire chief is looking at the ambulance specs, and he'll come back and present to you which one, and so that will give you a number for the ballot, right? So we agreed to move the ambulance forward. Are you looking for any information on the command vehicle that he's requested, before you take a vote on whether or not that's going forward?
Well, we kind of have to have some sort of information on the thing, because that has to go in front of the warrant finance, right?
Right, so we have a breakdown, year, make, model, hours,
some
everything
pictures
he
and
gave
stuff.
us. Okay, so some pictures?
Maybe, I'm sure Wayne can come up with some sort of, I'm sure they're gonna maintenance
I'm sure he's got
records
everything,
and stuff
yeah.
like that on it.
So we'll have them get more
See if anything
information.
major's been done. I'm sure they're gonna ask those questions at the finance.
But is it the intention of the board to put that on this fall, what I'm calling a fall vote? Or are we not there to decide that yet?
We haven't really talked about it. I don't
Do
know.
we need to decide that now?
No,
No,
just
we-
trying to, command vehicle.
No.
Are we trying to get this, a mass gathering ordinance on that, or waiting until,
Well, we haven't even really
I
worked
don't
on
know
it
if we
yet.
have.
I think that one can wait till next year,
okay?
really. I mean, next,
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying,
next
I,
May, maybe. I
so I'm
mean,
trying to prioritize based on what you guys want to
The
do.
only thing about the mass gathering that's gonna, if we don't get it done before next spring, I mean, we can't really wait till the town meeting, because we get all the mass gatherings right afterwards. These guys have to be able to prepare for that. So as soon as we can get it done, that way they're, I mean, I guess the only one that would really affect would probably be,
Renaissance.
Renaissance is probably, I think, the only
Maybe
one.
not.
Maybe the Fair
Yeah.
Association.
Maybe the fair.
If we have a mass gathering ordinance for town meeting in April, and it passes, it should be fine, right? For that.
Yeah, I guess it, oh, sorry, go ahead. I guess at the end of the day, the fairgrounds probably won't be so bad because it's all the way in August, so you have that fair.
No,
time
I'm
to
thinking
delay.
about the extent to which we, rather than hearing from the people that are renting the
Yeah.
facility,
Oh, my God, yeah.
I think we ought to hear from the Fair Association. It's their property, they're engaging these parties to come onto the fairgrounds. You know, we don't hear from bands that go to Iron Tales. So, you know, Iron Tales comes in. So the permit, it seems to me, ought to be to the fairground.
It's gotta be the property owner.
Yeah, so that's the fairground, not the people that are holding the event. And so, I don't know what that means
Well,
to
so we
them.
do barn lights, right? Barn lights comes in
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
I was gonna say,
It's
if
always
something-
It's always I don't know how we got, started this. I guess I could see why it was done, but I don't think it makes sense. And then we're just dealing with one party, and we aren't dealing with, all these individuals.
Yeah, like barn lights, we don't hear from the people that are getting married.
No.
We just hear from barn lights.
That's right.
And it should be the same with the fairgrounds.
Well, the biggest thing too that we gotta consider is, we'll use the Renaissance Fair, we'll come up with some other fair. The Volkswagen,
Yeah.
thing, okay, they come in, do damage, roads or whatever. We can't go back on the people in the Volkswagen group,
Right.
but we can with the fairgrounds, they're the one that held it, because they're the property owners.
That's right.
So, if.
Traffic control is something they
Yep.
ought to be worried about.
Yes.
I mean, I assume they're charging a fee for the use of their site, so makes sense to me.
You know, well, they can I'm sure like the fairgrounds can dictate that to whoever's renting it.
That's right.
That's their policy, you're renting it.
Yeah. In other words, we have an agreement with the fairgrounds about traffic control. We don't have to negotiate that with each of these individual parties. We do it with the fairgrounds and let them take care of it.
We can put something in the agreement that states if you have X amount of people, 300 people, 400 people,
Yeah.
this is what you're going to
That's
need to
right.
follow.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think it's something we'd have to sit down with them and try to come to some terms that, sort of work for everyone. I don't want
So
to
it
mandate
sounds-
something on them that doesn't work.
I think the question is that something we could get done soon enough to get on this ballot? That
Or you wanted to do it in April.
to me, it sounds like it seems like this is something that needs to take a good look at. I feel like we've talked about this on multiple occasions and wanting to look at a few things. I don't know. I don't feel like I want to rush it
Is
personally.
there I'm sorry, Dan.
No, that was just,
Like our mass gathering permit ordinance now has some strange things in it. And I guess I'd want to know what other towns have done. The fairs are held all over the place, or events like this, towns have them. Is this something our council could pull together for us?
Possibly, we did, as I mentioned last week.
Unless somebody else I don't know anything about this, unless someone on the board wants to step forward, I would just give it to council.
And have him write the whole mass
Well,
gathering.
I'd have him do the research on what,
Yeah,
how do you
I
deal
think-
with police officers and EMTs and traffic mitigation and,
I think we do that. I mean, it's good to see what other towns are doing, and also, at the same time, we talked about doing like a step where so many individuals,
Yeah.
and then another group, and then a larger group. Then, you get to the, if they just, Acton grows up and bigger, and we end up having a concert venue or something, you have to plan for that stuff, which I can't imagine happening.
I guess this isn't something I would try to create the wheel here.
Yeah.
There are towns that have already dealt with this, let's find out what it looks like. And if there's something there that sort of appeals to us, let's just.
And you'll see the fees and
It's always
everything.
better to plagiarize anyway. It's flattering to those other parties, they got good policy, great.
We could take a couple different towns and kind of mold it
Yeah,
together.
that's why I'd have
Put our kick on
Brad
it.
do it. I think you could probably brief Brad on what our issues are and what we're trying to
Yeah, I
accomplish.
mean, I'm not sure that I've really heard enough of what you guys wanted to say, because what I started to say is we pulled 7 or 8 different surrounding towns, mass gathering permits, we mentioned that
You have.
last week, yep.
Oh,
We've
okay,
pulled them all, we've picked out things that we think that we've heard based on what you've said.
okay.
I just need to know tonight if this is a fall ballot question or an April, because
I
I'm trying
know,
to
but-
organize my
but-
I
time.
feel April, I feel like this is an undertaking that we want to get it right. but-
Correct,
It's an ordinance that probably should be done at town meeting.
that's completely your call.
Do we have any other ordinances we need to look at?
Well, I feel like we're looking at,
Let's
We're
get
just
an
talking-
inventory.
We're just talking
about
about one, the road
yeah.
commissioner one.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were talking about one today with property. Right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
possibly.
Yeah. We ought to get an inventory of these things and then figure out how to attack them and get them done. Because otherwise we'll come to April and we won't have them, we won't have made the progress we need, right, Jennifer?
we can get a big checklist. and put it on.
We get into budget season or whatever, and So let's,
All right, so I have the ambulance, the possibility of the municipal, the command vehicle and municipal vehicle. Are there any other issues you think that we're voting on in the fall?
So that would be three things then?
That would be 3 ballot questions so far.
We're voting on the wintertime snow plowing.
Oh, sorry, yes. I knew there's something missing.
But
Thank
that
you.
should, when you say fall, what are you talking fall?
Well,
September,
it's-
August?
I mean, as soon as
Whenever
we
we
can
can
get,
get
yeah, you know, I can't do anything until we know how much snow plowing contract's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
get that.
you know, so that's really what we're waiting for. But yeah, I'm thinking August, September, because we have
is
to
this gonna
plan
be a
for,
ballot, or is it gonna be
it's gonna be a ballot.
gonna be a ballot in September?
Okay.
Is there gonna be a ballot in November anyways?
I believe the state is having one, yes.
Why don't we just do it at that time, and we'll get a better turnout? And there's some big ticket items here, and,
I don't think we can because of.
Yeah, David was saying.
Well, the only thing I was-
We gotta be putting out the snowplow. So you can't do that.
Is that
in
too
November.
late?
No.
I mean, you could award the bid prior to, and it'd be
You can take the
contingent
bids
on.
in, and we're doing the bid first, because we're doing
Yeah.
the right thing, we're actually have the actual number we wanna put forward, instead of guessing.
It's no
And
different
so-
than the fire truck.
The only problem you may run into, which I'm forecasting it won't be a problem, it all depends on how big that number is that comes in. If that comes in a stupid huge number, and we put it on a ballot, say for some unforeseen reason there, it gets voted down, in middle of September, well, that gives you roughly a month and a half to figure out what you can do before it snows.
Does the road commissioner, is he just gonna be required to plow if we can't come to
Well,
an
yeah,
agreement?
but, I mean,
But if you can't get any, if you can't find anybody to
when
plow,
would
then.
when could we complete the bidding, so we know what that number's gonna look like?
Well, we're hoping to be out to bid within the next, I mean, as soon as we hear from legal, David's gonna get a call and we're ready to go.
July, we should know? If we get a number that we can work with?
Yeah, we're gonna be
Oh,
out
should
to
we
bid
know by
for
the end of
2,
June?
3,
And
yeah.
did you, but, okay, so.
2 or 3 weeks we'll be out to bid. I mean.
So, at that point, if we got
At
a
least we
crazy
should-
number, then we'll have to huddle,
Okay.
and figure out what we're gonna do.
yeah, I think we'll be fine, but, the problem is you're gonna have all those big numbers on there, you know, you got a lot of big numbers, and something's gonna have to fail eventually, and I just hope it's not that one or the other ones or whatever, but,
Well, you know, that's for the people to decide.
Yeah.
It seems to me they ought to know, I wouldn't break them up.
nope.
I'd put them all on the same ballot and let people
So you
decide
think,
what they
so
want.
thinking, so they did confirm, they have the act to require an individual to prevent identification for the purpose of voting, so you'll be voting on that in November.
What are we going on?
Whether or not you have to show an ID at the
Great
polls.
idea.
So that's gonna be on the November ballot,
Oh, at a state level?
yes.
Oh.
So that will turn out.
Is somebody recommending that, or is it?
It was by petition.
By petition, I see.
Well, I have to walk up, and Nancy looks at me and she says, and I have to tell her my name, my address, everybody knows who I am.
Just
That's not doing, it's a difference of putting
Slip
down
your
your ID.
driver's license.
So,
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a state level issue.
Okay, so snow plowing, so again, like David said, you can award the bid and make it contingent on the
Yeah.
vote, so.
Yeah, right, David, that works for them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So just those 4 things possibly. Because I'm just trying to count backwards, we need to have public hearings, there's absentee ballots, I mean, this doesn't just happen, so.
Do we have a public hearing?
What are you saying?
I said that
All of them in
I have to
May?
count backwards, there's a lot of prep that
Yeah,
goes into it,
yeah,
it
I'm
doesn't
sure.
just happen.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
So I need timelines.
I got it, thank you, Jim.
All right, the only other thing that I had for you tonight is a reminder of spaghetti dinner this Friday night between 4 and 7 for the Manchester/Walsh family. Got lots of goodies. If you can't come, we are accepting donations at the window, and we're also selling tickets in advance. And we've had quite a few people that aren't able to make it that donated them, and we are
Meeting's
taking
not-
those.
Not going out,
I'm sorry.
the meeting's not going out publicly,
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got 2 texts.
at least on, at 542 West Shore Drive, that's the
Usually my
case.
wife's all over that. My wife didn't text me, she's usually all over that.
Texted me.
Oh, she texted her.
Okay, there you go. So I
Okay.
guess
Just
there's
text
I
nothing,
feel like I'm being left out here.
Just texting somebody.
it's fine, I guess
We're
there's
we're
nothing
always
to do
talking
about
about
it.
you.
Nothing
I'm
to do.
reaching out to Mr. Krampus,
Okay.
so I'm good.
Well, I'm sure it's still taping, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll just be put up later, just not live.
Yeah.
Okay, So you're all,
I'm good.
well, no, where were we anyways?
I think we're
Liaison
on the
update.
liaison.
So, okay, good. Whew. Liaison date.
I have nothing.
Nothing? Ed?
Just as quick, nothing.
Dan?
I have
Should know
a
this by now.
meeting with the fire chief tomorrow, a scheduled meeting. The recreation committee had their second clinical, this past week, I think it was. And it was pretty well, pretty positive feedback about that. This past Friday, the conservation committee had some members go out to, I can't remember that road right now.
Hebo.
Thank you. And put up the signage, and then releasing just some verbiage as to what that signage is for. They did say they did notice some more damage to the property, so I believe they're gonna get the warden just a heads up.
Yeah, the fires and stuff as well.
Is it posted?
It's not posted, like the signage that went up was signage that was approved in regards to saying that you're now on town property. That was it, and they put it around the borders just so that people kind of, when they're entering, the idea is that hopefully people kind of understand they're on town property, have some more respect. There is some discussion because I think when we did the workshop last year, I went up there and noticed some of the damage that had been done, fires, camping, stuff like that. That's when they had a warning come in at one of the meetings and talk about like what can be done, because I can't remember the verbiage, but where the damage was done is a riverhead, or I can't remember but going into,
The resource protection?
no, it's a, oh God, Michael Benjamin knows all, that's why he's the chair, he knows all this, and then, but, so there was concerns about that, so, there's discussion once the other property is posted, or not posted, but has the signs up, maybe having some more signs about like not going into that riverhead, and hopefully trying to bring more awareness to that. But that's kind of a further discussion.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, that email that he sent, Michael Benjamin sent you and I about the language for the town's website, are we doing something with that?
We're just putting that up.
Did it get to Dan, or was I supposed to? am I
No,
doing it?
I responded to that email because I asked him if he wanted me to put it in a more appealing, not just verbiage that like something
Okay,
we
so
put
you
in the
took-
newsletter.
okay.
So I'm waiting to hear back from him. If he does, and then I'll send that to Dan. So you post it and put it in the newsletter.
I'd be interested to know whether or not, if we have a piece of property the town owns, and we don't have any signs saying no ATVs or no overnight camping or something like that, and say somebody squats, they dig up squatting on property, whether or not we can have them leave or not,
So
without having a no trespassing.
what the warden said was that because there's that road, they can because of the right of ways or
That's a
something.
right of way all the way.
With the road, they can do it the road, but once they leave that road, that's when they're not allowed to, and that's where the damage is done. Once they've left the road, there's a, like, if you go all the way up, like, I don't know, I walked it.
Talking
but,
about a four-wheeler or something?
yeah, but it's camping, but there's this river, which is I can't remember the verbiage, just a not riverhead, but that has been gone through. The four-wheelers, ATVs have gone through, caused a lot of damage, and because it's a feeder stream into other rivers and lakes, that's the concern. And so, because it's not on that road, there is an ability to enforce it. I think the warning came that there's signage that can be posted just saying like, no ATVs in this spot, but at least with the road up to Eagle Harbor, they can't do that because of the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Without having a no trespassing sign, how can you enforce something that you told, without telling them it can't be there? Because it's actually town property, I mean, it's kind of public property. Okay, cool.
And, yeah, that was that.
Okay, John?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Okay, actually, we did just meet with, Will over some, road project stuff there, good meeting, great. Department head committee chair updates, any? Nope, I do not see any. Old business, none. New business, North Star contract.
So North Star is the company that offers services to the land use department in regards to planning services. They have a proposed 2025 contract for you. The rates are on the second
You got
page.
additional copies there?
I know, I just made one. The contract is identical word for word as to last year. The only thing that's changed is the compensation.
Is somebody here to talk about this?
No, they never come. I mean,
Oh, they
I'm
never
certain- No,
come?
they never have. I mean, in the very beginning when we hired them, they came and sold their services, but
Oh, I thought someone was gonna be here. So what were the prior rates?
Last year, the principal planner was $160 an hour, senior planner,
Moved to 175, right?
senior planner was $150,
To 165.
senior planner, the lower level is $135.
Those three went up $15, which, okay,
The planner 1 and 2 was $110 and $125,
okay.
and then administration manager was $85 an hour. And then the travel time is available at 1.5 normal billing rates plus mileage based on the IRS.
How much did we spend with this fund last year?
I would have to run a report. The town, according to the code officer, probably 90 to 95% of his fees are paid by the applicant if they're coming before him. Only when there is zoning changes or, questions, I would say definitely
Have
less
they
than
had
10,000.
have they had a history of raising these rates over the last few years? Because
Yes.
these are big increases.
Yes, they go up, they've gone up pretty much every year. I mean, I went back as far as 2022, and there are steady increases.
They do this every year.
Yeah, contract every year.
I guess my question would be, are these rates charged to all of their clients? In other words, are there some clients that pay less than this? And if so, why?
So we'll find out if there's a consistent hourly rate for all of their customers.
If they're billing this rate to everyone, this is a firm that David has, not David, Jason has come to depend upon?
He uses them, yes, they're very
He uses them?
resourceful.
Is this the
then.
firm that we also asked to possibly do a review of our current
Yes.
ordinances?
Yes.
The zoning ordinance?
Yes,
And so we got someone we like, we've
Mhm.
been with them for a while,
yeah,
it's just their costs are increasing significantly. So let's find out if they're doing that with everyone.
okay.
I don't know how others feel about it,
I think
but.
that makes sense.
Hmm?
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, and it's good through June 30th, so we have time.
yeah.
Generally, they only come in for, meetings with the planning board, that there is a lot
Yeah.
of questions and.
Yeah, I think we got a budget of, how much on this, 20?
Well, it started at 20, we've cut it
We've
back
cut it
several
back, it's down to
times, yeah.
15 or
It's
12 or
12
something.
to 15, yeah.
What is our other alternative, Jen?
Jason did mention today that is somebody with Southern Maine Regional Planning that was doing it. I'm not sure that he spent a lot of time looking to see if there's other firms out there. I'm sorry?
What do they charge?
I would have to.
I don't think they do they?
I thought it was part of the dues, but,
Yeah, I thought it was a free service for us. I might be wrong, but I know but.
So we're paying a dues to some organization?
well, I'm not sure. It's kind of like MMA versus, Burke and Clay.
Outside, yeah.
They probably will give you, basic answers, how to write an agenda, how to do this. But to come to the meetings, I'm not sure they're
No,
gonna do that.
what I'm
for free.
saying is, are we utilizing that part of it to
At
cut
all,
back
right.
on, if you have
Some of the
somebody
hours
else there,
Yeah,
and, try to split it up a little bit, so even though the hours, we don't want, they do a good job.
Mm.
The last planning board meeting we
Mhm.
went to there, it was a good thing he was there, I think there was
And, according to Jason, their representative, Ben Smith, he's one of the top guys. When he goes to these, weekend things that he's gonna go for training, that's the guy that
He's teaching.
does.
Yeah, he's definitely the top planner there.
Wow, okay.
He's the guy that does it all.
but I think he's a good asset.
Mhm.
I just think that, because of the cost, maybe on some of the smaller stuff, we can go somewhere else to save the money to be able
Yeah.
to still use it.
it's just like we do with MMA.
Yeah.
Really,
Same
we
idea.
use them on some things
Generic
that.
questions, yeah.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
go to
And
the
he
road.
may be, so let me get clarity from the code officer and
Yeah.
we'll bring him back next week.
Yeah.
I think you have a hand
Oh.
here.
Go ahead, come on up, Joyce.
Actually, when I was chair of the planning board, we brought North Star on that year.
Yep.
And what you're saying is right. And I can remember when they started out, there were two people. The principal was 125, and this young lady who was the helper that worked with us was like 75 an hour. So if I look that far back to today,
$200 an hour.
it really isn't a whole lot, but they were the best that we could
How
find.
long ago was that, Joyce?
2016, maybe?
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
So
but-
9 years?
Kenny, I think, was still.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
we hired
that's
him.
not a bad increase. over
No,
9 years.
but,
yeah.
but the
Well, that's helpful,
important
thank
thing
you.
was what you were saying, Lee J. Feldman, the group we belong to, the town.
Southern Maine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Southern Maine.
Yeah.
They are wonderful to come in, say you get a new board in, and they're, you know, people are learning. They'll come in and go over things and really do a great teaching thing. But the one thing we did do, and a lot of it was when we were doing the big subdivision, which we all remember, the applicant paid.
They still do, they still do.
Yeah, the applicant paid. So, you
Yeah,
know,
we're just talking about the small stuff, you know, when
Yeah.
during the planning board meetings and stuff like that.
but
I
just,
think
just the
even-
opinion,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Joyce.
just the opinion of somebody who just has been there but doesn't really hold anything. That's where Southern Maine comes in, because you paid your dues.
I think even if other,
You paid your dues
you
and
know,
they.
applicants pay the fee, I think we have an obligation to make sure the fees are reasonable either way, so.
Well,
um,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. We all done with that? Okay. 1-day liquor license.
KB Restaurant Enterprises, doing business as The Shed, is going to be catering a one-day event at property on West Shore Drive. They have paid the fee, they have provided the insurance, so just looking for your approval on the liquor license. Remember, these are done electronically, so there's nothing for you to sign. There's a picture of the residence and the property that the event's gonna be at.
Do they allow that
I'm
on
sorry?
Do they allow that
No,
on?
it's not, I may sneak over, but.
Take pictures for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
So what do you want?
I just
Do you need a
motion to approve it, yeah, I mean,
Motion, I'll make a motion to approve, application for a liquor license at West Shore Drive, what's the number?
August 9th, it is.
August 9th.
6:34,
6:34 West Shore Drive.
Seconded.
All in favor?
from 5 to 10 PM. Okay, take care of it.
Okay, resignation.
Fire Chief Ham received a written resignation from one of our full-time employees, Doug Ackroyd. He says that he's writing to formally express his intent to transition from his full-time position to a per diem. His last shift is gonna be on June 9th. He goes on to thank the chief for understanding his continued support. As I understand it, he got a job closer to home, so we're happy for him for that, but he's gonna stay on as a per diem. I did get approval midweek. Last week we got it from the chair and the liaison, so we're already advertising for the position. But looking for a motion to accept.
Make a motion, we accept the resignation for Doug Ackroyd.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Mass gathering permit. I think we just discussed that, but we'll do it again.
So Iron Tail Saloon has requested a mass gathering permit for July 25th and 26th. It is his King of the Ring event. This is an event that he has had several years in a row. He did come in today, pay the fee, he's got the insurance. He asked me, unfortunately wasn't able to be here tonight, but he wanted me to relay a couple of things to you. This is the same weekend as the first weekend of the Renaissance Fair. He wants you to know that he has hired 3 law enforcement officers to be outside of his property. He also wants you to know that he will be vanning people or transporting people from a property on the corner of 109 and Goose Pond Road down to his facility to try to help with the traffic.
I think we should have.
And
What is this? Is this some kind of a boxing or
King of the Ring, David.
King of the?
I ain't answering it.
Oh, is this the one I think it is? This guy, the short?
No.
Yeah, okay.
The what?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. He will be here next week for his regular annual, I'm not gonna Google it, cause I don't.
What weekend is that?
It's the 25th and 26th,
Of July,
yes.
thank you.
So, there were no problems with the event last year, he's met all the requirements and then some.
And then some. I
Including
just
parking
want
and liquor.
I just want to comment that I appreciate that. Like that's initiative, doing above and beyond. He always does a good job, and I just really appreciate that he takes the safety and making sure that he can host his events, but being respectful of everybody else in the town.
There you go.
All set. We all set?
Motion?
Oh, I thought we already did that.
I move to approve the mass gathering permit for July 25th, July 26th, 2025 at Iron Toes for King of the Ring.
Seconded.
All in favor? Yeah, that's gonna be a little busy down there that weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Would it be crazy that we do like for that weekend leading into just a reminder that those two events are going on just for people, I don't know, heads up or, I don't know, just remind them that there's two events
Yeah,
going on, that they don't need
If
to
they
go
put on
down.
the newsletter,
Newsletter,
let people know
absolutely.
it's gonna be busy and
Yep.
seek alternative
Avoid
routes.
the area.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go 5 miles out of your way, one way or the other.
It's like Sanborn Road's gonna be a busy road. Okay, public comment. Okay, have anything? No?
Make a motion to adjourn at 6:37 PM.
All in favor? Good night.